Stretch. Oh. Alright, let me check on that app. Alrighty. Let's see.
Oh.
There we go. Alright, let me check sound and then should be good to go.
Alright, sounds good. Cool, so I'll just put up the thumbnail and then we will be good to go. And Walt probably will not be joining us today. That's right, Macho?
Yeah, he texted me when I was doing my errands around that he didn't just get to Puerto Rico, but he didn't get like to his place yet, so he's probably gonna crash like once he gets home.
Gotcha.
So, but we're good on sound, so let's share it out. And then we can do a tweet. All right, cool. So ready when you are, my man.
Alright, let me just fix something really quick.
But yeah, we'll keep it short and sweet for today. Nothing too crazy. Literally nothing happened throughout the entire week.
Honestly, I think that's how the rest of this month is gonna be.
Don't we have Gamescom at the end of the month?
Yeah, but I mean, does anything really happen in those?
But like Jeff Keighley said, it's gonna be some exciting reveals.
Yeah, all right. That's a to him, exciting reveals means something different to him apparently.
Oh right, yeah. No, you're right. Especially when Summer Games Fest, the biggest thing like was what Last was part one that got leaked.
Yeah.
Oh man, hate to see it. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see what they got planned. I figure we could do like maybe some predictions next week, but I don't know. To be honest, I don't even know what's really gonna happen.
We'll see how the week plays out, man. You saw Herman visited Sucker Punch?
Yes, yeah.
And then he was at what I think Deviation the week before. So I don't know. People are saying they're like, hey, he's making the rounds, so maybe something's cooking up, you know?
Yeah, maybe a nice little showcase. Yeah,
Yeah, and
you'd
then he
love to
was
see
at
it. Hopefully,
he.
it's about due time for one, right?
I mean, you would think so, but it's weird because like they've done a September showcase the last 2 years, the last two Septembers. So you would think that another one would happen this September, but I don't know. And I remember last year like it wasn't a foregone conclusion that they were doing one anyway. And then I just remember just waking up one random morning and then it was like bam, like we're having a showcase September whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I hope it's gonna be like that this year as well.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe after Last of Us Part One drops.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see it. We'll see how it goes though.
Yeah.
I gotta get back to playing this game, man.
Alright, just adding some tags and then we can start.
Cool. I probably put like at least 50 hours of Hades into this Nintendo Switch, and even playing on PS5 is just this gameplay never gets old, man. It's so good. Shout out to Supergiant Games for making a classic.
Man, dude, I was at GameStop yesterday and man, dude, that I know we're only 2 years into the gen, but man, that PS5 section is small, man.
Really?
Yeah, there.
Can you imagine the
It's just.
Xbox section? Ooh.
Oh man, stop.
That's
Oh
wild.
man.
No, you have a point though.
Yeah, like I was looking for something, man. Anything.
Give me anything.
Yeah. No, I should have I honestly I don't know when I'm going to, but like I should have brought I was thinking of bringing Deathloop to trade it in to put it towards Final Fantasy, but um I don't know if I got cold feet last minute or just like I just was like, you know what, I don't want to put like right now I don't want to put like another like 50 hours or 100 hours into another game after everything I've been playing this year, so
What do you mean Final Fantasy VII Remake?
yeah, isn't that like a really long game?
No, it's like 30 hours max.
Uh,
Like if you're like first time's like 30, 35 hours if you're doing everything, but it's pretty standard RPG. Nothing too crazy.
okay, I was expecting like Persona.
No, 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 definitely not.
All right,
No, there's more that you're gonna get that kind of length with the entire trilogy, not just in one game.
gotcha.
But yeah, definitely trade that ish in and get that Final Fantasy. Man. It's about time. You're not gonna be playing anything till September. So
That ain't true, man. What's it? Roller Drum's coming out in like 4 days or
oh,
3 days
you're
actually.
right. Yeah.
I can't wait for that game, dude.
Is that gonna have a story mode?
I don't know.
Because I'm not sure if it's exactly like Tony Hawk, where there's just arcade mode and you kind of just go through all the arenas, or if there's actually like a
Yeah,
little bit of a story mode with it.
yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, it looks really damn good.
Yeah, this whole month, man. You got Inscription,
Yeah, I forgot about
Rollerdrome,
that. Yeah,
um,
Cold of the Lamb.
Call of the Lamb literally just came out. I think there's another one, but yeah, literally this whole month is like no like crazy PlayStation AAA first party, but some of the probably the most coolest indies to come out in the past
Yeah,
year, and the new
and
stuff
then
too.
yeah, and then that changes like literally early next month is Last of Us Part One.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's get started. Guys, welcome to the 72nd episode of the DualShock and Sense Podcast. I am your host, Soul, the connoisseur anime waifus, joined by we only have two-thirds of the usual suspects this week. We
Mm-hmm.
have Macho here. How you doing, man?
What's up, everybody? It's the King of Kingdom Hearts and the Final Fantasy fanatic. Wow, it's been a while since I said that. That felt good. Uh,
Is it really?
yeah, it really did. I've been good, man. It's been dude. It's been one hell of a week, dude. So long story short, my partner got COVID, and
Oh shit.
yeah, that was like right at the beginning of the week, and so I basically had to sleep on the couch like for the entire time for this entire week, and including next week too, because it takes at least 10 days for like everything to kind of wash out. But yeah, immediately I made the joke of like I sent like a picture of my pillow and my sheet to my best man. I was like, hey, "Yo, me and Sammy got in a huge fight. Like this is like really bad." He's like,
Oh man.
he's like, "What did you do?" and then so I'm like, "No, I'm just kidding. I'm just sleeping on the couch because because I have to, like, literally because she has COVID." And so it's kind of just been living in the in the couch and living room like a Neanderthal. Like I've just been kicked out
Yeah.
and but thankfully it's mad comfortable. So I've literally just been playing a lot of Xenoblade, been playing a lot of multiverses. Since a lot of my time's just been taking care of her and cooking and working and all that stuff. So it's been a really long week. I'm just happy it's the weekend at this point, so I can just chill and relax while she's doing her thing with some last minute wedding stuff. So, but yeah, man, it's been good so far. I can't really complain. It's been a blessing, I guess. Other than the fact she got COVID, but yeah.
Right, right, right.
But yeah, yeah. How you been, man?
Been good, man. Just really just school and work and book stuff. I'm in the process of, I don't know if I told you guys, but like I hire like a professional artist to design my cover. Um,
That's bomb.
so
That's bomb.
yeah, so I'm excited to show you guys that when it's done. It's interesting because she's like showing me like how it's coming together like gradually over time. So that's been pretty cool and like making necessary changes to it like in real time. It's
That's sick.
cool. Um, and then also, I don't think I'm gonna do it anytime soon because like I also like I want to edit my book through like myself one more time before I actually send it to an editor. But like that's also something I've been looking at as well. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much been my week with that. But yeah, man, been good overall. Um,
That's
want to
cool. Me
remind
and
it.
Walt were actually wondering about like what's the status of your book too, and how's
Yeah,
that coming along. So it's cool that like you're actually making some headway. And I think it's really smart to hire like an artist for that stuff because the book covers can be fire. So you gotta get a fire book cover for that one,
oh for sure.
especially with the cool
Yeah,
title that you got.
yeah. I can't be doing that like myself for sure.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
you.
but yeah, I want to remind everyone to go ahead, like, and share the podcast out. If you guys did not know already, we did a very lengthy and in-depth boss ranking of the Elden Ring bosses last week. Go ahead and check that out. Um, and yeah, man, we're gonna get started by talking about the games that we've been playing this past week, or just the things that we've been doing this past week. Macho, it's pretty short for me.
Okay.
A lot of Horizon Forbidden West.
Yes.
Yeah, I love this game, man. It's good. Um,
Yeah. Cool, man.
there was a scene. God, I forgot when I got to it. Maybe like a few days ago, something like that. Between Beta and Aloy,
Mm-hmm.
where Aloy is like trying to like urge Beta to like go out into the world with her to do this mission, and Beta, of course, is afraid that the Zeniths will find her again and stuff like that. And it was just really like I'm gonna be honest, like a lot of the stories in this game so far has just kind of been like I've been watching, but like I'm kind of like on my phone at the same time, which is never a good sign. But like this was like the one scene in a while, and some of the stuff with the side quest with Alva and Katalo as well was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Katalo in general, like I love his character. But like this scene between Beta and Aloy was like one of the like few moments where like I'm like completely like zeroed in to everything that's happening, and like the performance by Ashley Birch, like I don't know, it was just really compelling. And like the way that these two were going at each other, the way Ross kind of came back into this conversation, um yeah, it was like a really like powerful scene to me. I don't know, I really love that scene.
Cool.
um yeah, so
No,
yeah, it's
I think you have a. I agree with you in the sense that like not a lot of really story stuff really hits. I want to revisit the
yeah.
game just to kind of confirm that, but because the stuff that I had, the stuff that I remember, like really stuck out to me and still like it's in my head.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
you get to some of those points eventually. But
Yeah, it's and it's cool because like I mean there are some you know moments that do stick. Like the Las Vegas section was really cool to go through. Going to San Francisco for the first time was also like really cool. Um, but yeah, I also really enjoy. I feel like we've talked about this before, but I really love the tall necks this time around. That they're all unique and different from one another.
mm-hmm.
So like the one in San Francisco is completely submerged underwater, and you have to go out and like find the parts before you can like you know get it back on again. And then it turns back into the classic thing of like finding a place to be able to like jump onto it. Um, but yeah, I just really like that. In the past game, and in normal open world standard fare, it's usually just you climb the tower and unlock the map, and that's pretty much it.
Very
Even
Far
though
Cry.
yeah, but even though I do think Zero Dawn did switch up the formula by making the towers like movable things, right? That you have to find like the right place to kind of hop onto and to be able to climb them.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like that they like continued that formula or continued to like evolve it by making them different in how you access them, how you get on top of them, right? Like there was one that you actually have to use like these ballistas to actually like bring it down for you to be able to like climb on top of it, which was cool.
Yeah.
There, I haven't gotten to this one, but I've seen that there's one in an actual cauldron, I think. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I don't know. I really really appreciate that.
Yeah, the variety
It's
of it, right? It's just
yeah.
it feels every one that you approach feels fresh, but familiar.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I really dig it. Um, but yeah, overall, and also like I feel like I was rocking this really standard hunter bow for like the longest time. Like a green colored yeah, weapon type. So basically like the trash the trash level of weapons in this game. You know, because it goes like green, blue, purple, and then like gold.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and literally my life changed as soon as I got like a purple hunter's bow. Because like I feel like back then, like with that green one, I was doing like 10 damage like every arrow.
Oh man, you
Um,
weren't RPG in the RPG.
yeah, man. So as soon as I got a purple one, man, like everything just feels way more exciting. Yeah, I love the combat in this game, man. It's so satisfying just hitting like the weak points. Um, Especially just like, you know, when you're going up against a Thunderjaw and you're able to like shoot off the guns on its back and stuff like that. Like it's still just so satisfying. Um,
What place are you leaning on, or is it more hunter, or like what's your skill tree looking
Definitely,
like?
definitely. I guess that's like kind of a complaint to me is that like I feel like the skill tree is like kind of meh. I I don't know. I don't know what they can do to really like because I feel like there's not really much of a way to differentiate like your playstyle from mine. Like I don't know. I feel like everyone's playstyle at the end of the day is just kind of gonna be like funneled down towards like the same, like yeah, towards the same. Like it's not like a like Divinity Original Sin 2 where like you can choose to be a sorcerer or you can choose to be like a barbarian or et cetera, right? Like um I mainly just do a little bit of stealth and then just normal hunter gameplay and I feel like that's it in terms of variety. Um so because like I feel like you get like so many skill points that like just at the end of the day like I'm gonna be able to fill up that entire skill tree like by the end of the game. You know what I mean?
Um, I can say for like at least my point, I haven't filled it up even like 70 hours in and getting like that platinum and everything.
Hmm.
I think if you really like lean into a specific play style and like the actual like effects and because in a game you have different status effects, so if you can lean into like certain bows like have a status effect that you like acid or frost or anything like that or anything along that nature, then you'll probably find a little more variety into it because I was big on like the hunter play style, just really being up in the faces and not really using traps or bombs or anything like that. But I actually found so much more satisfaction in just really using bombs and traps and having them go off more quickly and be able to craft more quickly as well while in combat and stuff like that. I was able just to take down like huge ass enemies like the Tremator Tusk and like within a minute because I was using all those like traps and everything like that. And so maybe if you use like a little bit more like I guess maybe further into the skill trees, then maybe you can find something that's a little more I don't know specific to what you're looking for. Because that's what I did, and I actually ended up finding it.
I mean that yeah, that's a good point. I just haven't used traps like at all. So yeah, I guess that is a good way to differentiate your play style from other people's for sure.
Yeah,
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 I
because
guess
it felt like Horizon Zero Dawn more, right? And it's the sequel, we know that, but like you're like, okay, yeah, it still kind of feels like the first one, but delving more into those other weapons that they give you, like even the spike thrower, like you
yeah,
can
I
have.
haven't used that.
Oh, you haven't used a spike thrower? Oh, it's dangerous, bro. It's nasty. Um, yeah, you can get some real good damage out of that thing if you get like an explosive one.
Gotcha. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. For Horizon, really loving it. I'm like over, I think 100 hours into it. So
Nice.
yeah, I really like it. And then the big thing I wanted to talk about, Macho. Have you seen Carter on Netflix?
Carter. No, it sounds familiar though.
It just came out, dude. You have to fucking watch this with Sammy once she gets better. It's basically just a Korean action, like straight up just action popcorn flick. Um,
Okay.
it's like it's how do I describe this? It's like Uncharted on crack, basically, and Uncharted, and in a sense of like it's set pieces, it's action set pieces.
All
So
right. Okay.
the entire thing is filmed in one shot, which is fucking incredible. It's like an over 2 hour movie. I don't think I've ever seen that before, right? Like I see, obviously, like certain scenes or whatnot in a movie filmed in one shot, but never an entire movie filmed in one shot. Um,
That's incredible. How they do that?
it gets a little funky sometimes. Um, the CGI is definitely um, it looks video game old 2000s CGI cutscene
Oh man.
territory at points. Um, yeah, it's very awkward, but like it's so cool because it's like, there's multiple bike chases like on motorcycles and whatnot. So it's like the main character being chased by like cars. It's actually like goddamn the car caravans in like Uncharted 4 and 2, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like that where you're just being like chased, or the main character's being chased by like multiple cars and he's like on a bike. And it's like the camera is like going underneath like cars. It's going like through like open windows of like the cars that are chasing the main character as well. And
I love me some
um,
dynamic camera angles.
it's pretty nuts, dude.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's also so like I don't know if it's because it's a Korean movie that it's just like the absurdity is just like turned up to 10, but like like the physics and the shit that this man is doing is just like, come on, man. Like there's just no way. But you just turn your brain off, and that's the kind of movie that it is. Like it starts with basically this bathhouse. Like it feels like an old, almost like a classic, like Japanese sort of like kung fu movie or whatever. Because it starts in a bathhouse and like everyone is just like fucking like naked in there, and it's just
Oh
like,
God. Oh man.
and oh, they're wearing like underwear, but like but you know what I mean. But yeah, so it's just like incredibly bloody, and like people's bodies just like, being flung like into the hot baths or whatever, and then the entire pool just turns red and stuff like that.
mm.
um but just to give you an example of like the absurdity of or like the kind of tone that this movie has, there's this one scene in that specific like first major battle, where the main character's name is Carter, and he's being like hunted by like I believe like North Korea and like the CIA. It's like multiple groups, and he's trying to escape the bathhouse, and he's like on, I don't know, I want to say like the third floor of the building, and maybe like six people are like trying to like tackle him, and he like somehow manages to like push back like all six of them out of a window, and
Whoa.
he flies out of the window as well. So like they're all like in slow motion falling out of this building, and this guy in red, like a car passes by as the people are falling, and this guy in red hits the roof of the car and bounces back up into the air. and and Carter's the last guy to fall out of the window, so he like latches onto the guy as he's like flying back up in the air. He latches onto him and uses him to like break his fall.
Holy shit.
So yeah, yeah. So I don't know. That's like the type of tone that you should expect with this. Um, it's just really fucking cool. Like it's so creative in the way that it's like with the specific kills and whatnot and the action set pieces. There's just shit in this where like there's stuff happening on like a moving train and there's helicopters that are chasing him and it's like um he's like hopping like through the helicopters and shit and getting back on the train. He's hanging off the train. There's an airplane sequence where the entire airplane, comes crashing down like Uncharted 3.
Damn.
Um,
Okay. He definitely got
yeah,
some influence here.
yeah, it's nuts, man. And all this is happening underneath the context of like there's this virus, sort of pandemic thing that's turning people into like almost zombies. So he's like trying to get like this vaccine. He's trying to like escort this girl who I think she's like important to like finding out the vaccine or whatnot. So like at the same time like he's trying to like protect this girl while all this crazy shit is happening to him. So like a lot of these action set pieces are like him fighting off waves and waves of men while at the same time having to worry about this girl who's constantly being taken and I don't know, man. It's pretty nuts. I recommend it. It's really really fun. Just watch it at night, turn the lights off, get some popcorn, and just enjoy the ride, man. It's fucking awesome.
It sounds a little.
Um,
It sounds like Uncharted mixed with Last of Us.
it's honestly
It's a vaccine. That you gotta protect the girl, and then there's also crazy shit happening.
yeah. It honestly feels like Uncharted, like on steroids, man. Like
That's awesome.
it's really cool. Um, yeah, so I really really enjoyed it. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me. What about you, man?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, that sounds fun. I'm definitely gonna catch that tonight. That sounds like a fun ride.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, speaking of a crazy Uncharted on steroids, I actually watched a little bit of the Uncharted on Netflix. Just to kind of recap that again, it's still like a fun movie, man. I really like it. I really, I really don't care like of all like the bits that kind of we had complaints about before, where it's not like a super strong movie, but it's still just a fun romp, and I really like Tom Holland in it as Nathan Drake, and then the cool cameo with Nolan North too is still rocks. Like I love it so much. He's like, I knew a guy that does that stuff. Like it's it's such a cool callback to everything, and I really think they earned their moment when Tom Holland puts on the gun straps inside the ship, and then like the big battle happens, and you see like or not see, but you hear like the Uncharted theme in the background. Like it's so cool. Um, so yeah, I've been watching a little bit of that, and then overall, it's been more multiverses. I'm like really addicted to this game now. It's
Oh
I
wow.
actually beat the battle pass, or I got all the stuff in it. So I'm literally just waiting for the next round of new items to come next week, and overall, yeah, I've been playing a lot of Wonder Woman. Been playing more of Velma too, and of course more Bugs Bunny and Taz and Superman. So like I've been playing just a range of characters, and most of them I unlocked. A lot of them I just started like already in like in the free to play like rotation. But there's so much fun, and Velma is just an absolute monster. Like in the game, it's not only just a Smash Bro. Like a sort of stage fighter, but you also have status effects. And then what Velma does is, since she's very technical in her gameplay, she has a lot of times where she can put players in, or your opponents, into like a freezing state. She can cause weakness, so like characters are more susceptible to have knockback damage and stuff like that. And if you maneuver with her right, she doesn't have like the greatest attacks, but if you maneuver with her correctly on the map and everything, you can do some serious damage. Like the Bugs Bunny's my favorite character, and the most damage I could do with him, like in a single round, would be like maybe 250, 300 damage. On Velma, on average, whenever I'm taking her to a match, I'm doing at least 400,
Damn.
because I'm just moving around with her so much. And I remember when I was playing Bugs Bunny, actually, it's either Bugs Bunny or Velma, and I actually got my first hate mail message, man.
Oh damn.
I got someone that messaged me on PSN to be like, stop spamming, and I'm like, I was like, what attack did I spam, sir? What was I spamming? He's like, you were pressing buttons, I can tell. I'm like, oh really? I was pressing buttons. Okay. As you're supposed to do in a fighting game. But And then he didn't mess me back. I was like, as far as like what attack I was spamming. So I was like, all right, okay, cool. You're just a bitch. Uh, so it's been fun in multiverses world, man. I'm really happy with the game. I think it's like my first like free to play fighting game that I've played, and for it to be so successful, it got like 10 million players even
Yeah.
before like the official launch, which is nuts. I think that's absolutely going to change the industry, but yeah, overall, it's a lot of fun. I can't wait till actually Rick and Morty join the crew. I think Morty's coming August 23rd, and probably Rick is coming at a later time. But regardless, the game is just doing so well, and I can't wait to actually talk about it more with its presence at EVO because the tournament was hype as fuck, dude. It was so good. The tournament was so hyped during multiverses. But yeah, I've been playing that, and then I actually been delving more into Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I actually got some good time with it during the week. I put at least 20 hours into it throughout the week, and overall, this game is amazing, man. It's really cool to see the Switch have its renaissance of JRPGs. Like I actually feel like we're in a renaissance for JRPGs right now, not just for Switch but just in general. With Final Fantasy VII Remake, Tales of Arise, Scarlet Nexus, Live Alive, now Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Like this, I'm absolutely just. I feel like a kid again, man. I feel like a kid again. Where like I'm exploring the JRPG genre for the first time, and I'm just being inundated with all these greats. Like back then, my first one was Final Fantasy VII like original, and then like oh wait, there's Final Fantasy 9 and 10, and then there's also Tales of Exilia. There's also Nino Kuni. Like so, like I was absolutely just in my element. I feel like I'm in the exact same way for like at least right now. And Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is just another like tip to the hat on great JRPGs that I'm experiencing. So a bit of like of an impression state. I actually had to write notes because this was actually like there's actually quite a bit to this game. But let me see. So yeah, overall, I'm sure you've seen so that the UI for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 could just be absolutely disgusting.
God damn, yeah, man. I saw that. I was like, hey, yo, what the hell?
People were talking shit about well Horizon and Ubisoft's man.
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is almost like an insult. Um, but that's also because
Jesus.
of the same thing where it's replicating an MMO, so to speak. Like the actual gameplay is MMO like, so that's why you see the crazy like cross lines from your characters to enemies. That's why you see a whole bunch of their health bars, and like you need all that information really. But well, the one thing about the game though is that you don't start out like that. They actually drip feed you all the UI stuff, all the tutorial stuff, even around hour 15 you're still getting drip feed like the UI and like all the mechanics you can do, stuff like that. So it's not overwhelming by any sense of the imagination. Like everything feels like a gradual learning period, which is nice. so
Gotcha.
so what you're seeing is actually like probably like hour 30 into the game
All right.
of just disgusting UI.
Yeah,
So,
that's crazy, man. I've never seen that before.
yeah, yeah, I know, right? In like in a console game for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Every time like Sammy walks by to the kitchen or whatever to get a snack, and then I just can't imagine what she's actually thinking. Whenever she's looking at the TV screen, seeing like all this shit on the screen, and then just music and characters talking going on. It's pretty wild. But I mean, overall, it's a really fun game, and I'm really loving all the mechanics of it. And I mentioned before, like the drip feeding of the UI, but it's also the same thing with like the actual game mechanics themselves. So, and then that includes exploring the world, which I'll say actually is probably the most interactive out of all the Xenoblade games. In Xenoblade One, it was a very focus on exploration, and really just kind of like curiosity, sort of like Elden Ring, where like you see something in the corner of your eye, you want to go to it, or like you're seeing a really cool vista, so that's where you're gonna head to. In Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it was a lot more quest based, in my opinion. So a lot of it based on like one side quest leads to another, and then that leads to another, then that leads to like three more, and yeah. So but Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a lot more A lot more like stuff to do, interact with, even in this world. So like you have stuff that you can collect in the open world. You have actually valuable chests. There's salvageable sites that you can go to that have like a little mini puzzle attached to it. I'm trying to think. There's a couple more. There's a couple more stuff that you can actually do in the game that's a lot more interactive, a lot more discovery, I would say. So this has a lot more enticing stuff to look at and do, more than any other Xenoblade game, which is really cool actually. So it's nice to see Monolith really evolve their open world repertoire here, right? Because they did Xenoblade series, and then they did a little bit of Breath of the Wild, and they're doing Breath of the Wild 2, and they obviously did Xenoblade 3. So you're seeing like a really cool evolution of open world games and how they like adjust to it and how they're sort of interacting with it as well. So it's not like fully vague like Elden Ring or Breath of the Wild, but you're still getting your hints of nuggets and what to do, and how to interact with everything, like a Horizon Forbidden West or anything of that nature. It's not handholdy by any means, but you can make it like it's so. So a lot of it is customizable, which is really cool too. Um, and one of the things I actually wanted to mention about the customization for UI is you could turn some stuff off. You could turn off the mini map and stuff like that. But a lot of like the battle gameplay is like stuff you can't turn off, obviously, because you need that stuff when you're fighting. But but you can customize the controls too. So the one thing that it does is that if you hold down the ZR button, you can actually bring up like a little quick shortcut menu of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like stuff in the menu that you would need to press a couple more buttons to actually go to. So like I can attach this shortcut menu to the save point. I can attach it to my character's like status pages, so I can easily go to and unequip certain skills or arts or whatever the case may be. And overall, yeah, it's just more customizable. So that kind of stuff I really appreciate, especially from Final Fantasy 14, where you can customize literally anything in that game. I'm sure you've probably seen it in Divinity too, where you can customize like some stuff like on your UI, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same thing here, where you just get a nice little shortcut menu. You can customize that, and it's all about accessibility. It's all about convenience, and that's what this game does really well. Even if the UI can look crazy at times, it's a lot of it's customizable, so it's not super intimidating, which is really nice. But yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Overall, it's really good. It's actually implementing the RPG system that's my favorite in any game, man. They have a class based system similar to the job system in Final Fantasy games, where one character could literally be anything they want, and it's all based on like your party roundup and everything. So the game that it recommends you to have is at least two tanks, two healers, and two attackers, but you can mix and match however you want, really. With that said, you probably get wrecked anyways if you just have like one healer and four attackers and one tank. You can try and do it, but I haven't come across any classes that allow me to do that yet. But overall, it's actually very flexible and a lot of fun. I love the system, man, because it just means that I can delve into classes in this class system for hours. And the incentive here is that you can carry over certain skills and arts into other classes as well, so you can just mix and match and create like the best sort of version of one class that you really like for a main character. And you're gonna unlock them as you go out through the game. So far I've unlocked two, and they seem to be tied to characters. And I think there's like 24 of them, so that means I got at least 18 different characters I'm gonna come across and unlock their class in the game. And that's so far 20 hours in on chapter 3. So we'll see how far like it actually takes it. But overall, there's a lot to this game, man. I really think they did a really good job with the art style too, where it's like half Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and half of Xenoblade Chronicles 1, which I really like. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a little too anime-ish for me. It was a lot more like Tales, and I wasn't like the biggest fan of that because I really like the art style from 1, where it's a little more characters look a little more normal, I guess. And this one adapts like both the anime style and like the actual original art really, really well. And I think it looks great. I think the characters look good. Not all the costumes and sets look super goofy like they did in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where like one of the girls like had like a weird shorts thongs going on, and then the other guy had like plates on top of plates on him on his armor. Like it's nothing too crazy like that. It's actually a little more bare bones, but in a good way, so to speak. And I think that's really all I really wanted to mention as far as I can recall. But yeah, other than that, it's a really good game, and I'm loving it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a great entry for for people that are just want to get into Xenoblade Chronicles. Like you can absolutely just play this game and not knowing like the knowledge of the past too. But it's a lot like what's the one thing I had in mind? You might, I don't know. There might be a series that you can like recall where like you could play like a further entry, and obviously it'd be good if you know like the prior games. So you get a lot more Easter eggs and a lot more nuggets from the first two games, but you don't have to play them to play this game, which is really nice too. It's a nice standalone story and great characters so far. I really like the voice actors as well. So overall, this game is just really hitting that JRPG goodness that I just love so much. And coming from Live Alive, it feels like again I'm in like in a JRPG renaissance. So I can't wait to put like another 50 hours into this game and just see where the story takes me. It's really good so far. The pacing is actually really well done too, as far as bringing out like really big impactful moments and also smaller moments of the characters really like reflecting on their lives and sort of the point where they're at now and kind of like how they speak to them. And overall it's really good. Again, I can't say anything bad really so far about the game that I've come across. Everything's really solid, so yeah, I'm loving it.
Gotcha. Nice. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, are you gonna play it?
No, I don't have a Switch.
what if I what what if I were to buy you a Switch, huh?
Nah, I'm good.
Oh no, you hate to see it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pass on that, man. You can have fun all you want with it, man, but I'm gonna appreciate your input from over here, you know.
Fair enough. Damn.
But let's move on to the podcast proper, man, and let's talk about Forspoken, man. Let's talk about Forspoken.
Well, first of all, shout out to those watching. 8 watchers right now. Hit that like button if you're here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. You guys are here. We appreciate it.
I'm just looking at the thumbnail right now. You're a messy man. You are. I gotta roast you on this one, man. All right,
why?
Kick it off, buddy. Kick it off.
Well, go ahead. Don't finish your sentence, man.
No, you gotta introduce the topic first. You gotta introduce the topic first. So you know what?
Okay.
You do your whole shit, and then I'll focus afterwards. All right.
Okay. Is it jury? Is that what we're talking about?
I mean, we could talk about jury all day if you want.
Hey, man, I don't got an issue with that. Okay. Anyway, so as you guys know, probably, Forspoken. I don't even know what was like the rhyme or reason for like why they released this trailer, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't to announce the release date, right? We already knew that it was coming out in January.
No, it was literally just a promotional thing that I was
Gotcha.
seeing. Yeah.
Gotcha. So so they just released a trailer out of the blue. I think probably just like a TV spot or that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
So yeah, they put it up on Twitter, and immediately it was memed to hell, man. Like I think Benji Sales pointed this out on Twitter, but like aside from their original announcement trailer back at the PS5 June showcase in 2020, this new trailer has like the most views that any Forspoken trailer has ever gotten. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I mean that is technically exposure, but I don't know if it's like exposure in the good way, right?
Yeah, I saw his tweet said like it had like what 2 point something million or whatever. I saw it in the article. I forgot what it was said.
Yeah, so I mean, really, that's the crux of the story right there, man. Is that what's going on with this game, man? It feels like this game just can't catch a break, man. like they take one step forward and then they take like 5 steps back, you know.
Yeah.
So I I don't know, man. Because I feel like the thing with this game that we've been talking about forever is that it's always been the dialogue and the writing just feels so like out of balance with like the cool ass gameplay and like the movement and the combat that we're seeing and the magic system, right? It
Which is
just feels
fair,
like it's
yeah, yeah.
it just feels like it's these two things that are constantly at odds with one another. Um, and yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird also because like beforehand, I don't know if they were specifically touting this, but I definitely remember other people were like, "Oh, Amy Hennig is on this project, Gary
Hmm.
Whitta is on this project, right?" So like, oh, the writing is gonna be really, really good, and then it's like we get this goddamn Marvel ass humor. Um, and, oh, that's
That's
probably what you were complaining about. Huh?
that's
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 what you were complaining
that's where
about.
you make the sin right there. That's where you make the sin.
Yeah.
But go off.
Yeah, you know the kind of humor that's like you know the world's ending and then you got Chris Pratt going, "Oh, we're in a pickle now." You know. That kind of humor, you know. That's what it feels like, man. That's really what it feels like. Um
Oh man!
but
All right.
yeah, but how do you feel about this trailer? What did this trailer do? Because I got a list of sort of because that's literally what I'm in school for right now is or at least one of the things that my degree is covering is marketing. So like I saw a bunch of fucking red flags while I was watching this thing. So I'll go over them after you go.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, yeah, this was not like the greatest trailer, honestly.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, Square Enix is just Square Enix in their marketing is like never on point. Besides like a couple of stuff when directors and producers actually have like a hands-on approach with their marketing and stuff like that, it becomes out amazing. We've seen that before with a couple other games, specifically Square Enix stuff, right? Because Square Enix is publishing this game or making this game. Final Fantasy 7 Remake had amazing trailers. Obviously, the launch trailer was spoily to all hell, but Final Fantasy 14 is another one where like the director and producer has a lot of creative control on that too, and on what goes and what doesn't. And with Forspoken, it feels like there's a lot of room for flexibility, and that's the worst thing in the world for it because it needs focus. And this trailer just absolutely cemented that it just doesn't have focus. The gameplay, more than likely, it does because everything looks crisp and everything. Like the game looks good, like no doubt about it. The game looks amazing. But when it comes to the writing, it really feels like Square Enix just bought a script from Amy Hennig and Gary Whitta, whoever else is attached to the project, and didn't or not willing to change anything about it. And that's really like a detriment because it feels really out of touch and sort of by the numbers and I don't think that's inherently a bad thing because there's some convenience and some comfortability with just having sort of content like that where like you kind of like the Uncharted bit, right? Like you just kind of turn off your brain, just have fun, so to speak, like we were just talking about with the movie you just watched.
Yeah.
But for this one, it seems very out of place. I don't know because like the everything's like the world itself just feels so serious and dramatized, and like to have like this character be like super quippy about everything. I think it's normal because that's probably like how she like deals with like something so out of place and out of touch. But it also just feels just weird, like like she's just doing it just for the sake of being doing it, or like just because like it's a trend or something like that. So this trailer itself, it overall, I didn't really see what was going on, other than the fact that like this girl is like just doing what she's doing, and you don't really get a good sense of like what the game is, other than just you're in this other world and you have a sarcastic character. Um, I don't think it was really the best one, but aside from that, I did see the quote tweet where someone's like, "This is why Marvel is ruining media," something like that.
Hmm.
And I think that is just so stupid. I think that's probably the worst take out of that entire ad and that entire video, because that humor is not specific to Marvel.
Yeah, for sure.
Is not originated by Marvel. That shit was way before Marvel. So for someone to tweet that, really just speaks to the volume of like their disdain for MCU and just overall not liking it, and this now MCU hate train that's going around ever since the pandemic is starting to get tired and boring. And honestly, it's the fact that they attribute Forspoken to Marvel is just, or Marvel to Forspoken is really just, it's aggravating, to be honest with you, because the Marvel stuff is fun and is good and it's a good popcorn flick and it gets a lot more hate than it's warranted. And of course, there's some like okay and like not so great stuff either, and that's okay. But to call it like the worst, like Marvel being like, or the MCU rather, being like attributed to like the worst thing to media, and this is like a reflection of that, it's just so gross to me. I think that's really out of touch and just not cool. Um, Along with the trailer being kind of out of touch in its dialogue, I feel like we can criticize stuff without being mean spirited and like really like assholes. Um, and that was kind of like the ugly side of that. I saw that and I immediately was like, all right, yeah, I'm glad I'm off Twitter, because this has just been aggravating to watch everybody just now. Oh, we're dunking on Forspoken. Oh, now we're just dunking on Marvel because of their dialogue and all this kind of stuff. And I get it, it's not for everybody, and it has its warrants and its criticisms, but man, I feel like we gotta come to a point where like people are just like, all right, let's not be the assholes for a second.
I do wonder though if, because of its success, does that does that inherently prompt other studios and teams like the like Illuminous Productions, the writers who are working on that game, to see that success and be like, okay, well, this is clearly what works in today's day and age, so we need to do something like that in order to, kind of garner a little bit of that kind of success, So,
I agree.
I wouldn't say it's Marvel's fault. I would probably say, or I don't know, man, maybe, but at the same time, maybe it's also their fault for having that belief. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
I see what you mean for sure, but
yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, because again, they're following the trend and the popularity of like, well, people like it when people are like this, like self-aware and kind of like jokey. But then again, not everything needs to be like that. And if that's the case, we should attribute that to Gary Whitta and Amy Hennig. The people that are writing the game, they're like, oh, well, we're following a trend here. Like, no, like make it unique and original. But continue. Like, I'll let you actually get off on what you're going to say, because I finished my points there. But so what did you think? And I'm really interested to hear what your take is on what you learned from class too, because I think we could definitely get some insight from that.
yeah. So it's funny because like this is literally like what my class is about this month specifically. So yeah, this was funny. So
That's awesome.
first of all, the text, the giant like overlaid text, man, is just like it's because it's so big, it's distracting from the awesome gameplay that's happening on screen, right? Like that's what the focus should be. That's what the trailer should be centered around. Is like what is happening, with Faye, I think her name is, or Frey,
Yeah.
with her moving around and doing all these cool acrobatics and fighting and stuff like that. Like, that's what the trailer should be centered on. But instead, it's like you see this big goddamn text, popping up on screen, and that's like your eye immediately, like naturally, is going to be attracted to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that is definitely like a cardinal sin in to me, at least. That's kind of like one of the biggest things that I noticed. Um, whoa, I feel like just like the tone of the trailer is just like, again, that idea of it being at odds with what is happening in the gameplay. Like, it just feels like it doesn't match like what you're seeing. It just feels so disconnected. Um, and so there's that, obviously. Um, and just again, to like the dialogue, man, it just brings unneeded like extra attention to the dialogue, which again, what we've been saying is the weakest. Like, that's what everyone has been saying, is
Mm-hmm.
that the writing, the dialogue is the weakest thing. Everyone else is everyone agrees that the gameplay looks awesome, man. So like, why are you bringing extra attention to the thing that you already know people don't like, right? Everyone has been complaining about the dialogue and the writing since day one. So like you're bringing unneeded attention to the thing that you already know people don't like. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, so that is just like I just can't like wrap my head around that decision first and foremost. Um, Also like it's a really tricky balance that you have to hit if you're going to do like narration in a trailer, but like the narration in this trailer is so hype, right? She sounds so amped up about like everything that's happening to her,
Yeah.
right? And shit like
Freaking
that,
dragons.
right? And it's like it's weird because like if you're someone like me who is up to this point has been lukewarm about this game, right? Like, yeah, I agree that the movement and the combat looks intriguing, but everything else, like, I'm not jumping out of my seat for this game, right? So it's weird hearing, the person in this trailer so hyped and amped up and excited about everything that's happening, when me as the viewer, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm just whelmed, like I'm just like, oh yeah, cool, I guess, so that's another disconnect where it's like,
Yeah.
it's almost like, should I be excited because this person's obviously fucking excited about everything that's happening in the world, right? So yeah, it's really weird to have that. Um, yeah, like I saw someone on Twitter where it's like it kind of feels like those awkward like E3 presenters where like you remember that that Peggle 2 guy who's like Peggle 2 he's got like the confetti like all behind him and shit like that. Like, can you imagine like someone like me in the audience like seeing that? I'm like okay. I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it honestly feels like that, man, where like someone is clearly way more excited about this thing than I am, which I guess it's fine, but like I don't know, in a trailer I feel like it just doesn't really like work. It almost feels like a sales or like marketing person like trying to like sell me something that they are clearly excited about, but I'm just clearly not. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. And then also, I guess the last thing I'll say is that this and we can't be 100% sure about this until we get the final game, but this felt like dialogue just written for this specific trailer, right? Like, do you and I'm asking you specifically, do you think she'll actually say what was said in this trailer in the final game? Because I don't think so,
No, no, I don't think so either. It's way too self-aware, and
right?
it'd be weird if she was talking to herself and doing that.
Yeah, so like it felt like the dialogue written specifically for a trailer, and yeah, I don't know, that too just felt like I don't know, like I like almost like wasting my time, like, oh, I'm never gonna hear this again.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know, I could go on and on. It was just a really really bizarre trailer, and it was rightfully memed to death, man. Yeah, rightfully so. Um, yeah, like I said, I could go on and on because there's a lot wrong with this. Um, I just wish this game would just like stay quiet. This game is coming out in January. January is not too far off. Like let's let's cool off for Spoken. Like maybe we can see another trailer at the Game Awards. That's all we need, man. And then get into the pre-release marketing hype, whatever, in January. But like, man, dude, like I feel like we're good. Like we don't need we don't need anything else from this game until December, I feel like. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. Just what a bizarre trailer, man. When are these people gonna learn? What is Square gonna learn?
I don't know. That's the thing. It's starting to make me feel. Remember that time where EA put out that tweet of like, "You're not a 10 if you play single player games," something like that.
Right,
And then we
right.
learned it was like a separate third party marketing people that weren't even playing games.
Oh God, I
Maybe,
didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. It was actually a third party marketing firm that did that, and they just went along with tweets or whatever. And that's what they say at least. Uh,
Oh, right, right, right.
it could be the same probably with Square Enix, where like they just, I don't know, man. It really doesn't feel like that stuff is coming from the game. So I think you made a good point there. I also really like your point of like the moving text along with her moving. It's like it draws the eye too much. I think that's some very like hardcore like marketing stuff right there, that you
Yeah.
learn. I think that's a really good point too, and it kind of shows like the level of marketing thought that's going into this game that Square Enix wants to make into a franchise so badly. And they're
Yeah.
just absolutely dropping the ball on it because everyone just wants to make fun of it. But the thing is, I don't know, dude, because Square Enix is really weird when it comes to the releases that don't really that seem pretty lukewarm at first. We had the same thing with Stranger of Paradise earlier this year, where that game was meme to hell, dude. We seen that chaos, like and they took advantage of that, and then they still kind of like send out like I remember before I left Twitter, I kind of just roll my eyes every time I see this too from them. With the Stranger of Paradise Twitter account, will have like a random Twitter user saying like it's one of the best Final Fantasy games, and then they'll tag the person. I'm just like, you're not even using critics, you're using like random Twitter people to promote your game. And it feels like that's what they're gonna do the same thing for Spoken, which is like so odd to me, especially when it's like they want to make it into a franchise. But
And
yeah,
and to that point, I'm glad you pointed that out. Like the reason why Strangers of Paradise like sort of worked, even though that game was also meme to hell, is because I feel like that's just part of like the Final Fantasy charm, right? As opposed to like that sort of like dialogue sometimes. Um,
yeah, that's definitely like mid 2000s Square Enix. Yeah,
right. As opposed to this, it feels like I don't know.
it's new, it's fresh. Yeah,
Right. It's a new franchise, so we don't exactly know, right? It doesn't have that sort of leeway or wiggle room like Final Fantasy does, but like it's also like it's trying to be serious, but at the same time it does have like this jokey, weird, poppy, modern day, like, hey kids, how you doing kind of dialogue as well in there. So like I don't know, man. It just feels like it has its hand in like too many, I don't know, like soups or whatever. Um, uh, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a really bizarre trailer for sure. Um,
yeah. I mean, I definitely agree, and it's someone that's looking forward to the game. I mean, me and Walt talked about it before. We're just like we're excited to play this game, but like everything else is kind of like whatever for us.
yeah,
And it's mainly because the gameplay and the traversal looks really interesting, looks really fun, but I'm not expecting any sort of great level of quality writing. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake had really tight and close writing, and even though it did drop into some anime tropes, it was still really good for what it was. And it's to me, it's like pinnacle Square Enix along with like Final Fantasy 14 stuff. So again, it's baffling to have stuff like Stranger of Paradise being so quirky and odd and weird in its delivery and its actual writing, and then to have something outside of Final Fantasy but Final Fantasy like have like the exact same DNA. And I kind of just wish I just stopped doing it. To be really clear, man.
yeah.
Because again, going back to Marvel stuff, again, I feel like the comparisons is a little bit overestimated because not every movie is like that. There's quite a couple movies that are have a joking manner in super serious situations, but I also feel like this is attributing to the Marvel comics in general that kind of are just like that. I don't know, and it's a feel like that style just kind of adapted to what it is now, and not a lot of people want to be on that bandwagon because Marvel's popular and stuff like that, but. I don't know. I feel like the labeling it as like, oh, because of Marvel is like really like a stupid ass take, to be honest. But I don't know.
I don't think you would hear those comparisons. Um, let's say pre-Infinity War, but because Phase 4 has been Phase 4, I think that's why you're starting to hear like a lot of those complaints, especially off the heels
Mm,
of things like Love and Thunder and Multiverse of Madness, and Black
that's
Widow for
fair.
sure.
That's
Um,
fair. That's fair.
yeah, because like I was I didn't see Love and Thunder, but like I watched enough reviews to get a sense of like what kind of movie that is. But like I just comparing like Thor 1 and Thor 2 is like irredeemable in my eyes. That's a really bad movie. But like Thor 1, just like I think that's a really solid like like a movie about someone like trying to find like his worth in life, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really, really solid introduction to that character. But like just comparing that movie to Thor 4, man, and it's just like, man, dude, like Marvel was just like, I don't know, like they handled their characters, and specifically comparing Phase 1 to Phase 4, but like it just felt like, I don't want to say more care, but there was like definitely more depth, like to those characters, like just specifically talking about Thor in this instance, but like comparing like who he was in that first movie, like I don't know, man, like the tone just couldn't be any more different. So yeah, I definitely do think it's like a Phase 4 kind of issue, and that's because it's the most recent thing. That's why people are making these sort of claims and whatnot.
That's fair.
um
That's fair. Now that you say that, I can see that correlation, especially with like Phase 4 now, and even some characters. Not because you're talking about Thor, and then the person
yeah,
that I'm thinking of actually that's like so similar to how kind of their character arc was completely trashed was
yeah,
Hulk.
yeah,
Especially Hulk Infinity War into Endgame, where like that character, like what happened, that was like such a misstep. But yeah, there's a couple of characters that can attribute that definitely have the character tanked like that. But I don't know, yeah. But again, I think it's like leaning into like this joke stuff. It can be too much, and I've said that before about Marvel too, where it's just like they lean way too much into just the jokey matter that doesn't take anything like super serious. But then you have stuff like Doctor Strange 2 that didn't have a whole lot of humor, and had a lot more like the serious stuff that was like a nice change of pace. But but yeah, overall, Forspoken still looks fun to play, but I don't think that script or that writing is going to change, man. I think it's kind of
oh,
evident that it's set in stone.
oh, 100%. The game is months away from release, so that's not changing.
Yeah, there's definitely no reshoots with the actress for like, hey, can you redo this line? Like,
Yeah, for sure,
I don't know.
for sure. But yeah, man, that is Forspoken. Macho, do you want to go into Evo?
Hell yeah, I want to go into Evo. Man, Evo
Yeah, boy.
2022 came back with a vengeance. So it was. I think I'm. You're gonna laugh at me when I say this. I want to go to Evo 2023.
I mean, everything I heard from Evo 2022 is that like it was a really, really damn, like not even like talking about the announcements and stuff like that, but like it was just a really fun event to be at.
Yeah, I mean, I was I was just jumping in my sofa, just watching all the fights, man, and all the stuff going on. It was so much fun, dude. So I mean, first of all, we can talk about it's like sort of like the announcements, I guess, which is just like a quick recap. It's just a lot of games are basically getting rollback netcode, including Dragon Ball Fighters. Which, so have you actually played Dragon Ball Fighters?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god, dude! It is like the epitome of an anime. Like it's what one Dragon Ball fans have been asking for years, but like it's the epitome of like an anime fighter. Like we look at Guilty Gear, we look at Blaze Blue, we look at even DNF Duel. We look at a couple of the stuff that the Arc System Works has done, and they're like, oh yeah, these are anime fighters. They're very technical. They're very like in your face, really punchy, great animations. Dragon Ball Fighters, man, is like cream of the crop. It's what you expect from a Dragon Ball game. That it's super hyped. The dash attacks, the overall ultimates, the cinematic moves, like going from one special into another. It's just a masterpiece of a fighting game, from Marxism and Works. This game is getting rollback netcode, which is freaking huge. I am not even to Dragon Ball, but I played this game when it came out. I bought it, played it, and I put like at least like 15, 20 hours into it. I dropped it, and the reason why is because the online was just horrible. It was just really, really bad. And
Mm,
the main like point from that is like because Japan has really good infrastructure in the internet, which is why they use a lot of delay based netcode. So for them in their country, they're like, oh yeah, it's great, but like for us in America, obviously we're not as developed, we're not as in tune with all that kind of stuff.
right.
So delay based netcode is just not good. But the fact that Bandai Namco is implementing rollback netcode into their games now is like a godsend. People were hoping for the same thing for Tekken 7, but who knows? That little teaser at the end of the Tekken tournament might actually be something for Tekken 8. So we'll see. Maybe we'll find out soon. Hopefully, maybe at Tokyo Game Show or at Gamescom. But regardless, yeah, the fact that Dragon Ball FighterZ is getting rollback Neko is like a huge thing and is absolutely gonna make me go back to playing the game. It was a really fun tag team fighter. The tournament itself, dude, was so hype. I don't know if you saw, but maybe it was floating around on Twitter. But the audience doing like the screams along with the characters at the beginning of a match.
I don't think I did.
So apparently, there's like this. There's Cell, like one of the characters, and that's his name, right? Cell, like the
Yeah.
yeah. So like apparently, he has this scream at the beginning of like a fight, and literally the entire audience just goes quiet, but all of them are standing up, and one of the guys like actually chooses Cell. They're actually like going like, yeah, choose Cell, blah blah blah. And then the actual guy who's choosing him, he goes to like his opponent's like, all right, choose his stage. We gotta do this music. We gotta do it for the audience. We gotta do it for them. So they're about to get into the match. The audience stays. It's completely silent, dude, and it's a packed stadium. Like everybody's watching Dragon Ball FighterZ, the top 8. So they get to the menu, or they get to the actual screen, and then they show a little bit of the intro, and someone presses a button that skips it, and everyone's like, ah! And so the guy actually goes back and he cuts out. He's like, no, we gotta do it again. Restart match. So he usually restarts one of the top 8 matches, which is like it's like disqualification. You can't do that. But they let it pass, and then you see Cell come on screen, and he goes, ah! And you hear the whole audience go, like, again, I haven't played this game in years, but just to see that level of hype for Dragon Ball FighterZ makes me really excited for this netcode update and the PS5 and Xbox Series X versions they're going to put out for this game. I'm going to be in there day one. It's going to be so hype. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, but besides that, a lot of like really cool announcements for Robot Netcode. I know Persona 4 Arena got its update. What were the other stuff that was in there? Samurai Showdown, which is a big one because that game kind of came and went. But the fact that it's getting Robot Netcode is also a really big deal as well. King of Fighters has their own thing, and a new like Fatal Fury game. I never played these games, but apparently it's a very popular fighting game franchise.
Yeah, I saw Fatal Fury.
Yeah, do you know more about that, or?
No, I don't. But yeah, I just saw that announcement and people being very excited because I think the last one that came out was like a really long time ago.
Oh, there you go. Well, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that, and along with that, the new Street Fighter 6 stuff. So Kimberly and Jury were announced. What?
Oh, I said woo wee. to that before we get into the what everyone came here for.
Yes, sir.
I saw like a reaction to like the moment that Jury got announced, man, and I was so hyped, man. Seeing it was Susie Hunter, like she was recording off their phone, and they're like in the middle of the crowd, and everyone just absolutely loses their mind the moment that Jury takes off her helmet. So yeah, it was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that moment for a second, man, because
the goddamn Akira slide, dude.
Yeah,
that was so hype.
Dude, just everything about that trailer. That's the reason why people love Jury, because she's a nonsense, in your face, absolute wheelhouse of a character. And so to kind of have like that super cool intro with her and her just taking off the helmet, and her moveset looks like a lot like Street Fighter 4, which I'm a fan of because I got into Street Fighter 4 because of Jury. And just her entire moveset and everything, just like it's so cool. So the fact that she's gonna have like a sort of similar outfit, more in the Street Fighter 6 tone, but with that stuff she has from Street Fighter 4, makes me really excited just to dive in and play as her again. I'm really pumped to kind of see where they take that with her gameplay, stuff like that. And on top of that, Kimberly looks really freaking dope too. I think she looks like a character I'm gonna delve way more into as well, because of like her actual moveset and what she does. And I read the blog, but I forgot like a little more details about it. But she just looks really cool overall. I think the characters in this game, man, are just iconic already. I don't know, like something about Street Fighter 6 just feels so right. And with every reveal trailer, it feels like it's getting better and better and better. And the fact that we're getting Jury back in, I think it's just so cool too.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. That trailer, man. I saw some people saying that, hey man, I ain't a feet guy, but listen. And I was like,
oh
right.
yeah, hey yo.
I don't share that opinion. But
I don't
the
know.
way
It sounds like the story of, well, my friend, he has his thing. It sounds sounds a lot like you.
Sounds like I'm projecting a little bit.
A little bit. Just that.
Nah, but what I will admit to is letting her sit on me at the end like she did to that poor guy.
Oh man, you wouldn't have said that like 10 years ago when she had the review trailer. Her hair was like in a different way. Like, now she looks cool. In Street Fighter 5, she looks freaking dope.
Yeah,
Street Fighter 4,
sick.
yeah. So she looks really good, man. And apparently, yeah. What were you say?
Oh, really quick. I'm not gonna lie, man. I saw that trailer. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should jump into this game. So,
Hell yeah, son. Hell yeah, you should. You play with me and Walt. We'll have a good time. It's gonna be. I'll teach you guys the basics. I'm trash, but I'll still teach you guys.
especially with Chun-Li and those tick ass ties.
Oh man, I gotta steal that one now. Tick ass ties. I gotta steal that. Yo, that's the character models in this game look incredible. This is like going to be the absolute premier fighting game and premium fighting game. Excuse me. Hopefully, we actually still get like a release date soon. You know, I keep watching Maximilian Dude's videos on this, and he's guessing February because that's when Capcom usually releases like their fighting games. So, with the way this game's looking, the sort of rollout they're doing a Street Fighter 6 live stream. Your Tokyo Game Show, they're actually going to be at TGS.
Yeah, they're doing a lot for this game, man.
Which again, would makes you really think that this game is coming out a lot sooner than we think, and February might be that time. February for Street Fighter 6, March for Resident Evil 4. You know, it's making me think, man. It's making me think. Especially
look, Capcom, they've been on fire, man. Like they are.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome, dude.
Oh yeah, it's again. It feels like we're in a renaissance of Capcom now, and now that Monster Hunter's kicking off, Exo Primal looks obviously it's goofy, but it also, from what we've seen from streamers and seeing the gameplay, it looks really fun. Street Fighter's popping off and is looking great. EVO Street Fighter 5 was probably the most hype shit I've ever seen that game, man. The entire top 8 was around like 3.5 hours. I watched the entire thing. Just sitting down. I didn't skip the match. I didn't do nothing. I watched the entire thing because it was so hype. And quick shout out to also the commentators at these fighting games tournaments, dude. They are just they absolutely chose a great cast of commentators and diverse cast of commentators too from all walks of life. Just doing the commentating for this game, and it really is an art I kind of just underestimated until now, which again makes me, you know, give more credence to sports commentators too, that bring more liveliness to watching games, like, right, or watching sports. It's not just about what you see on the screen, but also kind of like the commentation behind it. And what they did with Street Fighter 5 and all the other games like in this tournaments, like they did a really great job. It made the tournaments and multiverses even more hype too, especially the final like winners final, and then the Street Fighter top 8, bro. Massive. One character from America named Item, who is he won he has a couple tournaments on this belt, including the Capcom Cup and everything, but this guy is nasty. He was in the losers finals. And his road to getting to the actual grand finals to fight Kawano, who's like Kawano himself is like a beast of a fighter. I think he's from Japan, I want to say, or it's either Japan or North Korea. I think North Korea had a big presence with Tekken, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, Kawano was just like a nasty player. Like, this guy was like pretty much untouchable for like the entire tournament. But Item, man, came from losers finals, had to fight legendary Street Fighter players, from Daigo to freaking Takedo and a couple of other like really great Street Fighter characters. Like he had to actually bring it his all. And the thing is, like, I was voting for Item because not only because it was like home base, but also because he was playing as my favorite character that I initially first gravitated towards when I first started playing Street Fighter V when it came out, and that was Laura. So it's just to see Laura kind of like rise up through the ranks and see Item just completely have control of the, like, believe in the character and believe like his skills and everything, and just go against these top Japanese players in Street Fighter and just not even dominate them but meet them on their level and ended up beating them was like incredible to witness, dude. I was on the edge of my seat for nearly every match and like leading up to the grand finals, and it didn't disappoint in the actual final. Kuwano versus Item, they're neck and neck, like literally final round, 2-2. Next match is the winner. Like, what's going to happen? But the thing is, Item did so good at adapting his playstyle to Kuwano. And I really thought he was going to take it. But Kuwano absolutely just saw and read Item's like certain strategies, like at the last two matches of the actual round, and ended up winning the actual EVO tournament. So shout out to Kawano on winning that. Like, that was like a hard one fought, but Item, man, Kawano may have won the championship. Kawano was Item was actually he was definitely the people's choice for sure, just for rising through losers finals and everything. It was a sight to really behold, and like I can't even imagine being in the audience and seeing that and being a part of like the hype, and like it was so cool that I was like, all right, I gotta do EVO next year. I have to go to EVO now because I'm invested in these fighting games, and everything. Every time like I see them on during the live stream, I just wish I was a part of like that. And now with things the way they are in life, it feels like I finally can do that now. So I feel like, if I pre-plan it and I actually make like some strides and we can make EVO 2023 trip an actual thing, I think I want to do that, especially like with 2023 now. It might be games that I play more of, so it could be more multiverses. It can have maybe Mortal Kombat 11. It could just definitely have Street Fighter 6, maybe DNF Duel if it's not completely dead by next month or something.
And that's not even talking about the other sort of big announcement was a little Tekken tease, man. Just a little tease. It was funny. It was funny also watching the reactions to that, and like just like everyone being like, oh, like they wanted more because it was like 10 seconds. But it was also really funny seeing like they cut to the broadcasters. And Harada is there. He's like jumping around, and then he just leaves.
Yeah. Dude, I saw that on screen. I was crying.
It was literally like that Kojima meme that I told you guys about during the Xbox show, where it was like a picture of Kojima, and it was like shows up, announces nothing, leaves.
Dude, that was like one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because you could tell like he's like so in tune with his community. Like, he just loves being a part of the players and the whole player base. So to see him go on the commentators to jump around, he's like, I'm shaking you, I'm shaking you.
Yeah, and that was awesome.
And then they pose for the camera, and then he
That was hilarious.
Yeah, one of the funniest things I ever seen him. Like he he actually fucks. Like, he fucks with the whole community. It's great. Yeah, that was really hyped, especially the tournament, dude. I did not know that in Pakistan, like, there's a big Tekken scene. So that was actually really cool representation to see, especially in the final round. I think it was I can't remember the name. I think it was Khan versus, oh man, but I know it was Korea versus Pakistan, basically. And it was just cool to see all these representation, all these walks of life, all these people from around the world, right? Not just like America, but like around the world coming in one place to compete in these fighting games, and them being absolutely masters at their craft. Like, have you played Tekken before?
Some of like the arcade ones, but not any of the recent ones.
Right, but okay, so you have like a at least a small taste of like how kind of complicated it can be to play that game. Yeah, so like the fact that like these guys have like a complete control of the game and their character and situations and what they're doing is nothing short of amazing to me. Like absolute athlete level stuff there. And it's the same thing with Street Fighter Five and even Guilty Gear Strive, Dragon Ball Fighters, and all this kind of stuff. Even multiverses, which like just came out, and everyone's really kind of we're in that very fun period of multiverse right now where everyone's trying to figure everything out and just play a different character and see what goes down. And Evo definitely cemented the fact that like not everyone's how they seem to be, because Bugs Bunny, from what I saw, everyone was like, this is the best character in the game. But then you have people like Velma, you have Wonder Woman, you have Superman, and Shaggy. Like, oh my god, like all these different characters that have such great tool sets on their own, not for just individual play, but for team play. And just seeing that mixed match of characters and different kind of strategies and what they can do with certain ring outs and everything, and just really just jumping on people. I remember seeing the Wonder Woman, and I think it was it Velma? No, it was Tom and Jerry. That's what it was. It was Wonder Woman and Tom and Jerry were the two that actually won the tournament for multiverses. There is one point where they actually ringed out one of the characters, one of their opponents, and then they immediately just started jumping on the next one. And they were so in sync, dude. Like, one was going for the bomb, the other was going for a top, and they were just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until he just wrung them out. I was like, holy shit, that kind of, like, coordination was really dope to see. You're only going to see that in EVO, you know? So, this was, like, an absolute triumph for this tournament. After what was, I think the last one was in 2019. Couldn't do 2020 obviously because of COVID, and then the whole evil scandal with what happened in 2020 through 2021. People not really knowing if it's ever going to return. Kind of like how we say with E3, like is Evil dead? Like is Evil officially
Sony acquiring it?
Mm-hmm. Sony acquiring it, and then now it just absolutely just kind of dominating some viewing charts and having more people join in more than ever, and having the hype there. Like it's so cool and awesome to say that EVO is back, and I couldn't be any happier, honestly. As a fighting game fan, as someone that loves these games and loves watching people compete in them, it's really cool to see, and it's just really fun. I can't wait to actually be a part of it one day, not just like as a tournament player, but just as a viewer, being in that whole realm. I'm definitely not going to be a tournament player, that's for sure. I'll be buckling my knees if I ever entered into a fighting game tournament like that. But regardless, just like seeing people be a part of that, it's like so cool, and it's a lot of fun. It's really now, like, if you ever thought about being in a fighting game, and not just you, but anybody, now is the best time, because now everything's becoming more widely accessible. There's easier ways to actually get into games with it being free to play, or the moves and movesets not being as intimidating. A lot more games are having rollback netcode because we had a shift from the pandemic. So we actually needed good online games now. We can't accept trash. And now we're getting it. So honestly, you have so many choices, so many ways to actually approach fighting games that it's the best time to get into one. Whether it's Virtua Fighter, whether it's Tekken, DNF Duel, Street Fighter 6 is coming out soon, Dragon Ball Fighters, now Project L with League of Legends and Riot. There's really no excuse to like not jump into a game if you're really interested in the characters and everything. So yeah, overall EVO, I'm happy we actually give some time to EVO, because I've been aching to talk about it all week. And if you haven't watched any of the tournaments, they're definitely worth it. It's a fun time, man. What we said last week, man? Open a cold one, get some food ready, and just watch the tournament, man. It's good fun. So
Probably that sounds like something we would say.
yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it was really awesome to see it. Like there was a few times where it was like trending, like in the top 5 on Twitter.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, so it was just cool seeing it.
Cool.
Just seeing just the excitement around it, and people like genuinely like having a really really great time with it. So yeah, man. Kudos to them. It sounds like they put on a really really good show.
Yeah, shout out to PlayStation.
Yeah, man, for sure. All right, so let's move on to talk about Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, I don't know if there's really much to say about this topic, but yeah, we just found out that it was delayed to February. I was, and I guess we can kind of combine this with Midnight Suns because this also got delayed
Hmm.
into 2023. But I'm not surprised about Hogwarts because I feel like when did we get that state of play? It was like May, right? I want to say, or
Or it was around there. I think it was just right before the summer.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't too surprised because again, we hadn't seen much gameplay from it, and it had been pretty quiet. So yeah, man. I mean, this is like what the. I was gonna ask like what is going on, but at the same time, it's like it's COVID, so like I feel like we were like this was probably the year that we were really going to feel like the effects of the pandemic, and even last year to an extent as well. But even like last year, short like we didn't get like the big tent pole releases, but like it still felt like. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did we have like this big of a drought last year as we do now, or am I just remembering last year more fondly than than what was actually like reality?
Last year was Tales of Arise, Lost Judgment, Guardians of the
Resident Evil,
Galaxy, Resident Evil. Yeah.
Returnal, Ratchet.
Yeah.
We had Deathloop, we had Kana, um,
Yeah.
Psychonauts.
Yeah. I mean, looking even at like the games I completed this year, it's very small.
Yeah,
A lot of the games I played were mostly backlog or games I was revisiting. But a lot of
and,
stuff that I have on my list is like kind of like from 2022. It's pretty small.
and like to that point, this is just the games off the top of my head, but like everything that I've played this year has been things that have come out like in previous years. So like I played through the Batman Arkham trilogy for the first time this year. I played through Divinity Original 2, Original Sin 2 for the first time this year. I played through Cyberpunk 2077 for the first time this year,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like a lot of the big things I feel like that I played were definitely from things of like past years, which isn't. I'm not saying that's like an issue or anything like that, but like I think that really puts into perspective the kind of year that we've had in 2022.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so back to my original point, like, man, this is two quote unquote like well Hogwarts for sure, but yeah, these are two big games that were planned to release in the fall to really flesh out that fall lineup, and now they're gone. So it's like, what do we have this fall? Like other than God of War, there's their Call of Duty, there's your your sports games probably, and then Callisto in December, and like I feel like that's it. So
If
I don't know,
Callisto
man.
makes December, right?
Right, yeah. Even that one feels unsafe because it really feels like it's just like squeaking in there, like just barely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I think Hogwarts is like arguably probably the biggest, one of the biggest releases other than God of War Ragnarok
Yeah,
for
for sure.
for the end of this year. At the same time, it kind of feels like everything is moving away from God of War Ragnarok. At the same time,
That's what like some of this Tim Geddes on Kind of Funny was like saying, um, which I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna take his word for it, but he said he was like getting like calls about it or something like that. Um, I wouldn't be surprised, but like at the same time, like man, like I don't believe it with Hogwarts because I feel like that's a game that like it's going to just sell regardless. It's one of those like just off of the name alone, like that game's gonna sell. That game's gonna be fine no matter where it lands.
yeah,
Um,
it's like
but
Pokemon. Pokemon's a week after God of War Ragnarok. You think
yeah,
Nintendo gives two shits about God
what
of
what
War?
what's the game that's coming out like the day before God of War?
Oh, oh my God. I even mentioned it before too. Um,
Right?
Sea of Thieves.
Oh no, Skull and Bones, that one.
Or yeah, I'm sorry, not Sea of Thieves. My
Right.
bad, my bad, my bad. Yeah, Skull and Bones. I'm sorry.
Right. See, like that
Skull and
feels like a
Bones.
game that should absolutely be delayed
My
for
bad.
multiple reasons. Um, but yeah, so Hogwarts, yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean,
But
with that said, is being delayed to February. Do you think it was gonna release in November? I really believed it was gonna be like a near Christmas release. So if they're
I
delaying to
mean,
February, then that means like what, at least maybe an extra 2 months because they have to start having a gold version by January,
I
late
mean
December,
that
the latest.
that goes back to like what I was saying earlier is that like I shouldn't be surprised just because like we really hadn't seen much of this game. Like we saw the original announcement trailer and then we saw the state of play and that's pretty much it.
Hmm.
And they kept saying, hey, 2022, 2022. So just purely based off of that, the fact that we hadn't seen anything, I was less confident that we were getting this in 2022. Um, so yeah, I guess I'm not surprised. You remain hopeful still, you know. I this is a game that I do want to play.
Yeah,
So I was hoping that it was coming out this year, but at the same time, February is really not that too far off. So I'm not really sweating. Um, but this kind of goes into a bigger discussion. Like 2023, man, is absolutely absolutely stacked.
yeah. It feels like we keep saying that like
Yeah.
every half a year. Like wow, the next half of the year is stacked, and then like everything gets delayed. Right? Wow, that year is. But like case in point, February is Dead Space remake. It is now Hogwarts, which is releasing February 10th, 2023. What else do we have on that month? Let me see. I think that's it. But like, what comes out? No, Dead Space remake is actually January. Forspoken's late January. Then Hogwarts Legacy, and then whatever else might be in that time frame too. It might even be Crisis Core during that time, because they say winter. Either it's 2022 or 2023, but
Oh, you also have like Dead Space and Resident Evil in that time frame as well.
Resident Evil.
Um, well, it's in March, so
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Resident.
So
Yep, and then possibly Street Fighter 6 during that time too. So
yeah,
yeah. It's gonna be a fun year, dude. I'm just excited just to play Hogwarts, man. Like I seen a couple of like their ambient, environmental videos, and I did see some leaks of like the character customization too, which was really dope to see. And overall, like I think that game is gonna hit. Like it needs a time. So let's give it the time it absolutely needs in the development of it to really like make sure it lands, because they don't want another Cyberpunk. They don't want to be any other games that came out in recent years that like had like a lot of really good hype behind them because it's like a marquee franchise, and it's just not landing. So I
yeah.
feel like it really needs to do a good job at that. And so far, from what we've seen, it looks incredible. I talk about it with coworkers, that are not really even into games. Like I think one of the coworkers, she like has a Switch, and she heard of Hogwarts Legacy, and she's like possibly looking into that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's gonna be huge.
yeah, man. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Do you have anything to say about Midnight Suns?
Other than I really don't like the card based system. that was like that was really disappointing to see that.
Yeah,
But
I bet.
I wonder why. I wonder what's going on over there to make it get delayed twice, though. Because it's supposed to
What was
come
it?
out earlier this year.
Interesting.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was supposed to come out, I think, like summer or something like that, pretty soon. And it got delayed to the later half of this year. And now, when did it get delayed to?
I actually don't know.
I know it's 2023, but I don't know if
Right.
they specified it or not.
Yeah, I actually don't know if they did. Um, but yeah. So it was recently. I think it was an earnings call that Strauss Zelnick said that that the game was being pushed back. Um, but yeah, I mean, if anything, I think it's a consolation that Firaxis is a really really solid team, so I would trust them. Um, but at the same time, you never know. That's not always a guarantee if you have a good team.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see, man. But I hope it turns out good, despite it being a card game. Um, But yeah,
Yeah,
see
we'll
what
see.
happens.
We'll see. I mean, are you into real-time strategy games like that or no?
No.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing I'm thinking about too. Where it's like I would like to get into real-time strategy like that, but if it's card-based, that seemed like it was a really like a one thing. It was like a real-time strategy. Now it's like okay, cool. I can. That sounds like fun with Marvel characters, but it being card-based, ugh,
Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it
I mean,
feels very mobile esque, and
yeah, it kind of does.
if you ask me, Marvel games that want to be on console and just stay away from looking like mobile games. Marvel
Yeah.
Marvel's Capcom
To
Infinite was like really bad about that.
like to that point, like I do I do feel bad for little Timmy coming to GameStop and saying, and he sees Wolverine and Blade and Iron Man and Captain America on this giant poster at GameStop, and he's like, "Ooh, I want to play the new Marvel game," and he gets home and he pops it into his PlayStation. He's like, "What the hell is this?"
He's like, why can't I move my character?
Exactly. Why can't I attack?
Yeah, it turns out you gotta open a booster pack, baby.
Yep. Yeah, man. So I'm excited for that. Uh, but yeah, man, that's Midnight Suns and Hogwarts Legacy, man. Two more big games being pushed out of 2022. Um, it really feels like, hey, man, like God of War has the runway, So
It absolutely does. Yeah, yeah.
I'm expecting that game to do absolutely huge numbers, and I was thinking about this um, yesterday as well. With all this controversy surrounding Last of Us Part 1, I still think that game is going to do very well for the sole fact that there is nothing out right now. So I think really people are just like, I just need something to goddamn play on my PlayStation 5. So fuck it. So I honestly think that game is primed to do well.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Despite its, I was thinking about it more and more actually after we talked about it. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna watch the cutscenes because that's mostly what I'm interested in, like watching the differences in like the presentation and stuff like that more than actually play it.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm interested to see like first time players and their reactions to everything as well. Like I'm really stoked to see what you think the first time.
Right.
Um, Especially since it'll be kind of like your first time really playing it, but like in this like updated version that has all these different little tweaks added to it. But
Yeah.
I think yeah, you're definitely right where it's a lot of people are kind of like, oh, I need something to play, and that's definitely one thing to play, and it's shiny and new, and overall, like you said before, it doesn't really matter if like how close it is to the original, because people are gonna end up getting it.
Regardless, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a good like 2 months before God of War, so people are just gonna be hanging their hat on that. Again, I just wish it came with factions, man. That would have been like the complete package for me.
Yeah. And like I was at because we saw how fast the collector's editions of that game sold out,
Hmm.
and I was at GameStop. I originally didn't go there to pre-order God of War, but while I was there, I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's start putting money into it.
Hell yeah.
And the guy was like, yeah, dude, like we had a bunch of like collector's editions and the Jotnar editions, and they all sold out like within minutes. I was like, god damn, dude. Um,
Jesus.
so yeah, man. I'll never forget. Like I have never the one midnight release I went to in like my entire life was for God of War 2018, and yeah, I'll never forget just like seeing how big the line was at my GameStop, and then like walking out of there with my like giant ass collector's edition. This one day, this I was with a friend, and this one random dude. He was like an older dude, maybe like in his 40s or 50s or whatever, and he got his normal copy of the game. He's like, "Can you please take my picture with it?" It was like it
Yes.
was it was like this awkward ass picture of just like him standing in front of like the clerk holding up his copy of God of War and just like awkwardly smiling. And I'm like, "There you go, dude."
The
It
only
was
stuff you
so
see at
funny.
GameStop, man. The only stuff you see at GameStop.
Yeah, it was so funny.
I
Um,
apologize to Sammy for making her do that. with Kingdom Hearts 3. I apologize.
Oh man. Um, yeah, but yeah. So that's Midnight Suns and then Hogwarts Legacy. You want to quickly touch on the Ghost of Tsushima movie stuff?
Yeah, I was wondering if you. I was looking at that. I was wondering if you want to touch on that. We can do that.
I don't think it's really like big news or anything because like it's not anything at least because the articles that I was like looking at like they were writing their headlines like it was set in stone like this is absolutely what's happening in the movie,
Yeah.
but what the director said was he's hoping to do this. Like this is what he wants to do with the movie, right? So it's not anything again, like I just said, that's been set in stone or agreed upon. Like this, although he did say that Sony is behind the idea,
Yeah, that's what I
all
saw
he
too.
said, yeah, all he said in the interview is that this is something that he wants to do with it, right? That he's hoping to do it. Whether it actually becomes reality is another thing entirely, but regardless, I do think it's cool that he's kind of pushing for this and that this is something he wants to happen. Let me ask you,
Hmm.
do you think it is going to be an uphill battle for this movie to sort of ask audiences to have to like read the entirety of the movie through subtitles?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my worry.
People,
It's gonna
people,
alienate people.
yeah, people absolutely just hate reading, dude. I don't get what it is nowadays that people, anytime when people have to read, they're like, oh, I have to read. Like, yes, motherfucker, you gotta read. That's a fundamental value in life. Like, you have to do that. Even for entertainment's sake, I feel like it's really important for immersion. And I mean, so case in point, right? Prey just came out on Hulu, and it's set in the 1700s in a Native American tribe that speak Comanche. It's one of the languages. They have a Comanche dub version, which is really cool for that subset group of people, right? That where they're basing their entire culture and influence from for that movie. That's represented. I think it would have been even cooler if they had the characters speaking Comanche, but maybe that's a
Yeah.
little too much because it's more of a language barrier than Japanese is. But I think it would have been like a really cool thing to have that in a movie, have it full on the characters and the actors actually speaking Comanche instead of Comanche dub. But that's kind of like it feels like a Spanish novella sometimes, where like you're watching a movie and then you hear like the actual language over the actual speaker and speaking English. It felt a little off putting watching Prey and having the characters speak English. But for something like Ghost of Tsushima, I agree with the director. I agree with everyone that says that it should be something that's worth doing, and we shouldn't care about alienating consumers and people watching the movie that they have to read because it's overall servicing the story, is giving to immersion, is giving to the actual like layers of what Ghost of Tsushima is and why it's so fundamental, to the entire movie. I think it's a fight worth fighting for, but I don't know if they're gonna win that battle.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I, don't- I would agree that they shouldn't worry about that, but at the same time, like this thing got to make money, So
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, so which sucks that that's kind of like the mentality these days, but yeah, I do worry about that ultimately being the thing that stops this movie from being 100% Japanese. Um, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I do think that it's cool that he wants to do that, regardless though. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah,
It speaks to the dedication, right? That was even like a thought, you know,
yeah,
because
yeah, for sure.
because we don't really get that for a lot of video game adaptation movies. I mean, we talked about with Uncharted, where my one of my biggest complaints was the fact that the director did really feel like he played the games. It felt like Tom Holland kind of told him more about the games more than anything. Especially like the little detail where Tom Holland's talking about taking the notebook in Uncharted and actually flipping through the pages and having that perspective of looking at the notebook. That was Tom Holland's idea, and that's in the movie.
Yeah, yeah,
That it wasn't from the director. It wasn't from like the producer. Like no, it was actually from Tom Holland. Just hey, let's do that. That sounds like a pretty cool idea. Nice little nod to the games. So the fact that the director himself for Ghost of Tsushima, not really specifically tied to the movie, but to the Japanese culture, be like, hey, we should probably think about doing this entire movie in Japanese.
Yeah.
That's to me, that speaks lens of like the project itself and the quality of it. So hopefully that reflects in the final product.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see how that turns out.
Yeah,
Um,
I
yeah,
want to I want
just
to ask you about the project before we move on. Um, what do you think as far as like side content, right, in the game? What do you think they're gonna keep in and take out as far as like the movie? Do you think they're gonna have like those legendary sword fights in the movie or
nah, probably not.
nah?
Nah,
I
I,
would love that.
to be honest, I don't even think that. I think the tales I think they're called like with Masako and
Mm-hmm.
Ichikawa. I think those are gonna be super condensed. And that's even if they keep them those stories in at all. But yeah, there's a lot of content they need to get through. So yeah, I don't think you'll see a lot of that side stuff.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping, but what was the point you want to say?
No, I was just gonna move on, but really quick, that's sort of the double edged sword or double ended sword with making this a movie versus doing a TV show, right? Everything is just naturally gonna feel more condensed doing it in a movie format. Um, so yeah, we'll see how they'll circumvent that. So
Oh,
yeah.
do you wish it was a TV show instead?
Honestly, I would prefer all these things to be TV series, but I don't know. I would say that making it a movie would make it feel more like a blockbuster, more, you know, bigger and bombastic, but like a lot of TV shows nowadays like kind of have that too. Um,
Yeah,
but I don't know. Seeing something as gorgeous as Ghost of Tsushima on the big screen does sound a little bit more exciting. Um,
that's true.
so
Especially
yeah.
like the vistas and everything. Like the one thing I thought about this movie that might lean into is the black and white sort of like film look to it.
Yeah, maybe.
And I don't think they're gonna do. That's probably. That sounds like more like a DVD or Blu-ray release kind of feature,
Yeah, for sure.
more than an actual like featurette because like that game is like way too beautiful to be just have a full on black and white release. It'll be cool. It's kind of like Logan actually. Logan released in full color, but then they actually had a black and white version with like the Blu-ray release. I would love it if they did that with Ghost of Tsushima. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I would be down for that. Yeah, so is there any other topics you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, real quick, I wanted to touch on a little bit of THQ showcase. Nothing too crazy from this entire thing, but there's a couple of games, actually a couple of new games that actually got announced and looked really cool. One of the things I actually shared with you guys in the chat was the Alone in the Dark. Apparently, it's like a part of a franchise. I've never heard of it. I'm sure you probably haven't heard of it either. Um,
I know there's multiple iterations. I know of the EA one that came out in like 2008, I want to say,
oh, so you are familiar then?
but I don't know this original version.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea about it. But the thing is, just from the trailer alone, it has like this gothic 1920s kind of vibe to it. But so it looks like a mix of Resident Evil and Evil Within. Like it looks really dope, and it's another survival horror, man. Like these survival horror games are coming
Yeah.
out. It's like thank you, finally.
I
Like,
mean, shit, you're talking about a renaissance for JRPGs. This feels like a renaissance for survival horror.
100%, dude. Yeah, Resident Evil 4 remake, Resident Evil Village was amazing. Callisto Protocol, Dead Space remake. Yeah, we're absolutely just like we're fiending all these survival horrors, and it's really good to see. It's good to see like that comeback, and like now that we're actually at a point in this generation where immersion is like the top of the game. It's really cool. And again, speaking to that, love the fact that a lot of devs are actually leading into the DualSense too. Because I said before, like that for me, it's like one of the best. That to me, that was a convincer to get a PS5 and to play more games on PS5 because of the DualSense and what developers can do with it. So, hoping that the new Alone in the Dark game could do the same thing. from THQ. They had a couple other pretty cool ones, like some top-down strategy games. There's one game called Recreation, which is like an arcade racer that feels a lot like not Blur, but like it's actually from the devs of Burnout and Need for Speed. So for people that are more into that, it looks like a Hot Wheels game mixed with like the Need for Speed, which actually looks pretty cool. Not super into arcade racers, but I like to dabble into them for time to time. And that one looks pretty dope. Hey, sold just for you, man. A new SpongeBob game.
Hey man,
What's
that looks
going
heat.
on?
That looks heat, man.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's on you, man, but the SpongeBob platformers they hit.
Oh, for sure. Back in the day, the old THQ ones. Yeah, I used to love them on GameCube.
Yeah. So this one actually looks pretty cool. Obviously, it's just regular old SpongeBob, but like the fact that this one's kind of like time spanning, and it's going across like different eras of like the SpongeBob show. It's actually pretty cool. I don't think we had a game that's done that before, so this will be a first. And it seems they're definitely putting money behind this one, man. You can tell it's not like Last of Us or not like Horizon, but it definitely looks like a tried and true like SpongeBob like franchise game. But still, there's a lot of love being put into it, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed. Are you excited
Yeah,
for
I'm
that?
gonna be. I'm gonna be playing that for sure.
Yeah, you're the Destroy All Humans fan.
Oh man, I put so much time into that game specifically back on PlayStation 2. That's actually that and Jack 2 are the only games that I bought again on PS4, the whole PS2 classics.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So yeah, I love Destroy All Humans 2. It's my favorite in that franchise. Like weirdly enough, I played like all of those games. So yeah, it was one of my favorite franchises growing up. I even played the shitty Wii one. Um, um, it was called like Big Willie's Revenge or some dumb crap like that. But
Yeah, because of course
I
it
love that
was.
franchise. Yeah, really
No,
fun
that's dope.
franchise.
That's cool. Yeah, I played a little bit of the first one, but never played. The whole appeal of it is kind of like Grand Theft Auto, but with aliens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this one looked really cool too. I've been kind of like back and forth on whether I wanted to like delve into it now, but after seeing this trailer, eventually I want to give the series a try, just play it out because it looks just like just goofy fun.
Yeah, and I think the levels for me in two are just far superior than they are in the first game, and that's what really makes the second game. Because like you get to go to like a 1970s like San Francisco, you get to go to England, you get to go to the goddamn moon at the end of the game and
Oh,
just like
that's awesome.
fuck around there. There's like a Japan level. Yeah, it's really cool.
Wow, that's actually sounds a lot better than the first game. Because I remember the first one just kind of being relegated to like a couple of areas, and it was like, all right,
Yeah. Yep.
cool. Yeah, definitely be checking that out. Yeah, overall, THQ had like a really solid showcase of just games, um, for like all different kind of variety of stuff. It seems like a lot these developers, at least like these smaller publishers, are getting better showcases. There's THQ, which was pretty good. Annapurna just had their showcase, which was not bad either. It had some really cool games in there. Um, it seems like these like publisher showcases are a lot better than just the big time showcases. It seems like, man. Hopefully, Gamescom, excuse me, actually pulls through and gets some exciting reveals in there. We'll see. Maybe like another trailer for Callisto Protocol, maybe another trailer for Hogwarts Legacy. I don't know, but I just have like this sinking feeling like it's gonna be just pretty bland. I don't know why.
Yeah, probably will be.
Yeah. So, but
Probably will be. But we'll see, man. We'll see what Jeff Keighley got in store for us, man.
yeah. Apparently, Microsoft has like a 6-hour broadcast that they're doing, or something like that.
They're always at Gamescom.
Yeah, I've no idea where they're gonna show for 6 hours, but I
Well,
mean, we'll find out.
last year, remember that was the Trebuchet show that they had. You remember that?
I don't, and it sounds like I don't want to remember it.
Yeah, so it was for Age of Empires, and they literally showed like I don't know, like people talking about or like using or explaining like what a trebuchet was, like outside and like I don't know, like using one or whatever.
Oh
Um,
man,
Yeah, it was weird. It was pretty strange, but
I thought
yeah,
I thought we were past all this awkward on stage stuff, man.
yeah.
I hate to
Uh,
see it.
Not yet, man. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Um,
Oh, jeez.
yeah. But yeah, man. I guess that's gonna do it for the podcast this week. Um, yeah, so we're gonna get started with these outros. Before we do, want to remind everyone to go ahead and like the podcast, share it out. We really appreciate everyone who tuned in, man. It was great seeing a lot of people coming through, stopping by, even for a little bit, man. We appreciate it for sure. Um,
Hell yeah.
so yeah, Macho, you got anything going on this week?
Just a ton of Xenoblade. The new Final Fantasy 14 update comes out like 9 days before my wedding, so I'm gonna be jumping on that as soon as it comes out. A lot of great content. It's gonna be a packed patch, man. They absolutely jam packed this one with tons of content, tons of stuff to do. So I'm looking forward to that. On top of just tackling Xenoblade 3, I think that's gonna be on the mode for the entire day. After a long ass week, I feel like I earned it. Um,
Yeah.
I'll worry about dinner later. And now I think about dinner, and I'm gonna worry about it. So I'm gonna ask Sammy what she gets free. But yeah, other than that, man, yeah, it's mostly Xenoblade 3. And I want to see if I want to check out that movie. What's it called again?
Carter.
Carter. I want to check it out. I want to see what it's all about, and then whenever I need a break from Xenoblade, I'll delve into that. Maybe I'll watch it during dinner or something. But yeah, other than that, it's just gonna be a pretty mellow weekend. I'm gonna bug Walt the entire time to get some ganepas and empanadas and eat for two at his trip, and hoping that hoping he stays away from the strip clubs over there. Just saying.
Oh
So
man.
make sure that you're shaking it twice. You're just playing with it. All right.
Whoa.
So just saying.
Oh man. Oh, as for me, man, same old, same old. Just going through Horizon. Macho, I need to get back on my DC kick, man. I need to get back to those animated movies and Young Justice. I haven't checked them out in a minute, man. So yeah, I need to get back to it.
You don't have much, right? You did a good binge of some of the
For
stuff.
for Young Justice.
Or just Young Justice, but a couple of DC animated stuff too, right? You saw Batman and Son or
Well,
something like that.
yeah, yeah. So I saw Son of Batman. I saw Flashpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The Apocalypse War. So it was Flashpoint, Apocalypse War, and then Son of Batman. Like I think that's the order. There's still like I don't know like 6 other movies I need to watch. I saw Batman Hush, but like that's like one of the last movies. That's when I didn't know that there was like a timeline thing and like I need to watch these in a specific order. So like I literally started all the way from the end and then went back to the beginning. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I still got a bit to watch there.
Yeah, I mean, the I think is it Apocalypse the one with Doomsday, or
Um,
I'll try. I think there's Batman, Superman, Doomsday.
yeah,
That is a movie you need to watch. That's like one of my absolute favorites. That includes Supergirl.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's like the introduction to Supergirl, and I think Doomsday like makes. I think it's called Batman, Superman, Doomsday. It's a really good movie. There's a couple other ones. I would. Have you seen Batman and is it Batman Harley Quinn where she breaks up with a Joker?
No, not yet. I think
Oh,
that's later
dude.
in the timeline.
Yeah, that one is really fucking good, man. That one is raunchy as all hell. It's you're gonna be absolutely just you're gonna be falling over your chair the kind of stuff that happens in that movie with Harley Quinn. It's really good. I was like, whoa, they're going this way with this. This is crazy.
Oh man,
Yeah, there's a couple of cool stuff in there. You got a nice list of DC animated flicks to look at.
for sure. Looking forward to it. But yeah, man, that is it for me. And the podcast for this week. So yeah, we will catch you guys again next week. Hopefully with some more interesting topics to run through. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll
man.
see.
Yeah, for sure. Until then, we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.